Hello, in this video I'll show you more techniques for hard surface sculpting in Zbrush. So here again I have the sphere. I'll just go into append and append, let's say, a cube. Now I'll just click here to switch. I can also press the up and down arrows on the keyboard to switch. I can also hold Alt and click on an object to switch to it, but in this case the sphere is smaller than the cube, so I can't actually hold Alt and click on it. So with the cube, I'll just subdivide it a few times. And the next brush is Trim Dynamic, which you can use to kind of trim away the corners here. So you can simply work with this to get interesting results. For example, here I can go like this and kind of get this smooth curve here. Kind of maintain this hard edge if I want to. And you can use this to create all sorts of interesting designs and shapes as well. So for example, if I want this curve to be close to the center, I can simply keep using the brush and get this kind of curve. And a lot of how a brush works depends on how you use it, how you move with it. For example, if I make circles, I get this kind of result. If I simply go left and right, I'll get this result. Up and down, I get this result. You can combine this with, for example, clay buildup. Always remember to combine brushes together. Try not to rely on one brush too much. See what kind of results you get when you combine them all together. So I can use clay buildup right here. Now I can switch to Trim Dynamic and continue. So I can use, for example, clay buildup to kind of create a space for this sphere. So in this case, you kind of see the result of an accident. Because this sphere is here, it's now showing up as part of the design. I can hide it, or I can have it be visible and somehow incorporate it into design. Especially if I'm designing something more abstract, more alien. And I can get the standard brush involved as well. And you can see how you can create all sorts of interesting, more exotic details by combining objects together. And combining different brushes together.
And if you guys do like this video, be sure to check out my newest course, Creative Sci-Fi Vehicle Design, where I show you how you can use a combination of CAD as well as polygons to create a variety of interesting sci-fi vehicles. Link is in the description, it's the first one there. Let's continue.
You can definitely get some very interesting alien architecture this way. And now I can hold down Alt and click on the sphere to switch to it, and I can use Trim Dynamic here as well. So I get this kind of result. And you can also get layers involved as well. So let's say, for example, I go here and I create this detail, and then let's say I want to get rid of it. We can either press Ctrl Z, which depending on how much you did, you may have to press Ctrl Z a lot. Or, before you add additional details, you can go down here under Layers and create a new layer right here. You can click on Name to give this a name. I can, for example, call this Panel Lines. And now I can add some detail here. Right, just like that. When you create a new layer, you're automatically into recording mode. So I can turn this off, or I can simply move this to the left, and recording mode is exited. So now here I am at 0, which means this layer has a strength of 0, which means none of the changes are showing up. If I enter, for example, 0.5, it's 50%, and 1 is 100%. I can also go in the negative direction, so I can enter a -1, and now I get a positive extrusion. And this is also great if you're working with a client. Let's say the client does not want it to be this strong, you can simply decrease this, and it'll be a very light effect. This allows you to work in a non-destructive manner, which means that everything can be changed and modified very quickly without having to redo it all by hand. If you don't like this result, you can simply click on Delete, and the layer is gone, and now we can create another one and try some different detailing here. And remember, with Trim Dynamic, you can also hold down Alt to get a slightly different result as well. And next we have the pinch brush, which can be used to pinch parts of geometry together. You can see right now the Z intensity is at 35, which may be too intense, so we can try something like 15, something lower, and that would get a much more careful result. And you can increase the size, now you get a much larger pinching effect. So I can hold down Alt and click on the cube to switch to it, and now kind of pinch these edges to be sharper. You may also want to increase the focal shift so less of the surrounding geometry is affected. And of course you can combine this with smooth as well as H-polish. You can see in this case H-polish is giving a slight deformation here, so it's actually a better idea to use smooth in this situation. You can use this to sharpen up edges. Try changing the Z intensity, the focal shift, and the size. So for example, if I switch to a very large size, you can see that it just combines these two surfaces together. So using pinch along with smooth and H-polish is a good way to sharpen up parts of the mesh. The pinch brush can have other applications as well. Let's say for example this is supposed to be a creature's eye and I want it to squint more, I want it to be more closed. I can press S to activate the draw size and move this to the right. And now I can simply click here and close the eye like so. So it's a great way to quickly make these kinds of changes as well. I'll just go up here and click on the eye icon to turn off the sphere so we can just see this box. And how you move the brush depends on what kind of effects you get. So for example, if I just click down here, I get this result. If I click here and move to the bottom right, I get more of this result. So you can see how, depending on how you use it, you get different results as well. So make sure you practice on getting good brush control. So with the pinch brush, one negative aspect is that it pulls the geometry closer together, which can create situations where the topology is very stretched. So for example, if I press Shift D a few times, you can see the original topology here. And notice how these polygons are highly stretched. So I'm going to go back to the highest level, and now I'll use the standard brush to create a detail right here, let's say a basic line. Notice how here on the edge you get a decent result, but as it gets close to the center, we get this jagged result right here, which means we can't add detail very well here. What you can do is scroll down under Deformation, and remember to hold down Shift when you click to keep additional layers open. If I don't hold down Shift, Deformation will open and everything else will close. And now we have an option here called Relax, which will keep your detail but will relax the topology a little bit. So this is what we have right now, and now just relax. And now after some calculation, we get a much better result. So it's a good idea to use Relax along with the pinch brush to make sure that the geometry is a little bit relaxed after the pinching. Another great use for the pinch brush is combining it with clay buildup. For example, let's say I switch to clay buildup and I want to create a little detail here. So I'll just hold Alt and do a little bit of basic sculpting here. Alright, let's want to create a detail like this. Now I can hold down Shift and smooth this out. Now switch to pinch and pinch this a little bit. Maybe decrease the size. And I can see you get this very nice clean looking detail. And of course you can polish a little bit more using H-polish and other brushes and trim dynamic. But as you can see, you get a pretty smooth result. And for another example, I'll just hold down Alt and just move back and forth here. Get this kind of result. Smooth out a little bit. Switch to pinch and pinch. And a little bit here on the inside as well. You can get some very nice looking detail this way. You can combine with other brushes such as Trim Dynamic and H-Polish. The next useful brush is Trim Hole. Now if you press B, you have all of your default brushes right here, but Zbrush actually has a number of hidden brushes. And to access those, simply press comma, and then switch from Project to Brush, And here you have a number of hidden brushes that are not loaded up by default. So if you go into Trim, you can actually try out all these brushes and you may find different results. But one particularly useful brush that I like to use is called Trim Hole. Now the Trim Hole brush actually has a good number of uses. When you first use it, you'll get this result right here, which can be useful for some interesting looking sci-fi details. You can add, for example, holes here, and this could be a good place to put a screw or a bolt. Now to get the most of this brush, you really have to use it carefully. If you just start using it, you'll get this kind of result. So a lot of brushes require you to kind of have good control of your hand, have a good idea of what you're doing with it. So when you first start using the brush, you might get very messy results. But once you learn what the brush can do, you start to control it a little bit better and have it work for you. Now the Trim Hole brush is very useful when you combine it with masking. Now ZBrush has 4 brushes active at any one time. You have your sculpting brush, which is active right now. You have your masking brush, which is active if you hold Control. You have your selection brush, which is activated when you hold Control Shift. And you have your smoothing brush, which is activated when you hold Shift. So those are the 4 main brushes you can have active at any one time. So if I hold down Control, activate my masking brush, I can mask all parts of the mesh. What this does is that anything that's masked is not affected by the sculpting. I can hold down Control and click here to invert the mask, and I can only sculpt this area. So with Control held down, I can click here and switch between the 6 different types of masking brushes. So for example, I can try Mask Curve. I'll hold Control and make an empty selection to clear the mask. And now what I can do is hold Control and this curve appears. If I let go, it'll mask everything to the left of the curve. So notice that when you have a curve, you have a shadow area to the left. And everything that's to the left will be masked. So now I will hold down Control, and now I'll also hold down Alt. And now everything to the left of the shadow will be unmasked. If I hold down Control, and then click Alt, I can have a curve. If I hold down Control, and quickly press Alt 2 times, I'll get a hard angle here. So now I can hold down Alt, and remove this sharp angle right here. So you can combine both sharp angles and curves. So I'll start right here, hold down Control, click, press Alt 2 times fast, press Alt once. So you can see I start with a sharp angle and now a curve. And now I can let go. And now we have this mask right here. Now I can hold down Control, press Alt 2 times fast, press Alt, all the way over here, and now hold down Control and Alt, and this area will be removed from the mask. So you can use this to get complex selections. But now, I'll just return back to Mask Pen. So now what I can do is use masking to mask off, let's say, this area right here. Hold Control and click to invert the mask. And now I can use Trim Hole and simply click here. And then hold Control and make an empty selection. And I can see get this nice detail right here, which I can smooth out a little bit. I can also press Ctrl Z a few times, and this time I can hold down Alt and click. And now I get this positive extrusion. So using this brush you can get some very nice hard surface details as well. So for example, I can mask off this area here. Invert the mask and try simply clicking. I get this result right here. And now if I hold down Alt and click, I get this result. As you can see, it's a little bit messy. So what I can do is first of all decrease focal shift all the way down to -100. I can also increase the draw size. And now if I hold down Alt and click, you see you get this much nicer result. You can also try changing the camera angle and see how it affects the sculpt. So now we get this nice clean extrusion here. If the camera angle, however, is over here, I get this result. So this brush does depend on the camera angle. So if I want it to be extruded right here, I have the camera angle right here, and now I'll hold down Alt. I get this result right here. And now because I've moved the geometry out this way, we get some highly stretched polygons. If I clear the mask and try to do some sculpting here, notice you get this result right here. So now I can apply relax once again. And you may have to apply relax multiple times, but once you do, you get this much better result right here. So now I can, for example, mask off this area as well. And now I can use H polish to smooth this out. So you can combine different brushes to get some interesting results this way. So that was trim dynamic, pinch, masking, and trim hole, as well as smoothing and some clay buildup. You can also use masking to create paneling details. So for example, hold on Control and increase the Z intensity to 100 and decrease the focal shift. And now I can mask where I want the paneling detail to be. Now I can hold on Control and click to invert the selection. And now I can use a variety of brushes. For example, clay buildup to go inwards or outwards here. And just go around here and create this extrusion inwards. I can also simply go here under deformation, inflate, and give this a positive or negative value. And the reason for these jagged edges is because you really have to subdivide to a high enough level to get rid of this, to give yourself enough geometry to work with here. So I can subdivide once more here, maybe smooth this out, use the pinch brush a little bit, and get a much better result. And as with the first 5 brushes, simply practice using these and see how far I can go with it. Thank you for watching, and take care.